Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so it is like 3:40 in the morning and I realize that I don't have time to do a Laker video in regards to the Lakers of Detroit. So, guess what I'm doing? A Laker video in regards to the Lakers of Detroit. At 3:40 in the morning, I didn't watch any highlights on the Detroit Pistons. I'm not gonna lie. I like didn't even realize that there was a video that needed to be done. It just, with everything I got going on, it just seemed like that was the last thing on my mind. But it's the first thing on my mind right now. And so I glanced at the stats of what the Detroit Pistons have been doing, and they've been highly inconsistent. When I say highly inconsistent, ridiculously inconsistent. They've been win loss, win loss, win loss. I think what I saw there was their last game was against the Phoenix Suns, and KD went for like 43 points, but they forced 8 turnovers on KD. No Booker, but Bradley was out there, and they won. They really beat the Phoenix Suns in a high-scoring game. Uh, the game before that was a Utah game that they lost, and they lost to the Utah Jazz, but only had 10 turnovers and forced the Utah Jazz into 27 turnovers. How they lost that game, you tell me. But what I did notice is that they got crushed on the glass by over like 20 boards. So that must have been one of the most bizarre games. I wish I would have saw some highlights on it. And if I'm not mistaken, they had a game before that where they beat the Miami Heat in overtime. Jimmy went for 1,000,000 points, but they found a way to get the victory there. Um, you tell me how they did it. Before that, it was the Boston Celtics, and they lost. And of course, the Celtics launched 48 threes. That's all I need to say. In the game before that, I think it might have been the New York Knicks, and they won. So you kind of get the point there. It's win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. They're coming off a win, which means they're due for a loss tonight against us if things are going to hold up the way they've been doing. Now, what we need to understand is that Malik Beasley's really hot right now. Thing is, though, he was extremely cold consistently at home when he played for the Lakers. So I hope that holds up and he has an awful night. Now, what we do need to understand is that the Detroit Pistons beat us last time. Basically, Duran rebounded the ball like a madman, and Jaden Ivey turned into Michael Jordan. We couldn't do anything with him. This was well before we figured ourselves out defensively. I think tonight we have an entirely different thing to throw at these guys. Now, we got to understand, this is a pretty deep team. You're talking about the likes of Tobias Harris, Ron Holland, Asur Thompson, Cade Cunningham, who had a 20 and 18 assist game or something like that in one of those games. Another game he had like 13 assists and 33 points. I mean, Cade Cunningham is playing crazy great right now, so he is definitely going to be on tab to do magnificent things, him and Jaden Ivey. I don't know how we're going to guard those people, but we're going to need a big night out of Max Christie and Cam Reddish in order to have any shot doing that. Fontecchio off the bench, I like him a lot. Paul Reed has been getting some minutes, got to pay attention to him. Who else is on this team? We just got a really nice team now. I know that we don't have to worry about Big Beef Stew. We know he doesn't like LeBron James too much. Well, we don't have to worry. He's going to be out tonight. He's going to be out until after Christmas, from what I understand. So that's one less person we got to worry about on the boards. Probably more Tobias Harris minutes, probably more Paul Reed minutes. So we'll be ready for those guys. But it comes down to Jalen Duran and Anthony Davis on the boards. I just can't see us winning this game if Jalen Duran out rebounds Anthony Davis. Now, the one thing I noticed about the Utah game, that, of course, as I said, the boards were a serious deal for the Utah Jazz. It was Markkanen with 14, it was Kessler with 11, and a bunch of bench guys with 4 and 5 boards. That's a recipe for success. You got to rebound the ball against Detroit. They're going to force turnovers, a lot of them. If I'm not mistaken, it was a crazy game by Colin Sexton there in that Utah game. I saw Colin had 10 turnovers but like 34 points or something like that. It's crazy. That Utah game, I might actually try to watch some highlights on that before our game starts, just to humor myself to see what actually happened there, because it was so extremely bizarre in the box score. But they're giving up big games to stars, but they're also turning those stars over. That was the consistency I saw, glanced at those stats. So I just respect the athleticism of this team between Duran, Thompson, Ivy, Holland. They have some serious athletes, man. And of course, Cade Cunningham, a superstar. Not overly athletic, but next to those guys, it enhances his athletic ability as well. You got a guy by the name of Marcus Sasser on the bench. I think they phased him out of the lineup. A smaller guard, extremely talented, can go off. I've seen him do it. Probably should be in a different situation. Hopefully he can find his way out of Detroit. But, this is a team that you're going to have to take seriously tonight. They've already beaten us once, and quite honestly, they just have a athleticism and size advantage, and they do play defense. They force a lot of turnovers through their steals, and depending on the night, they may be able to rebound pretty well. I think they out-rebounded Miami by like 18 boards or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, in the win there. So, like I said, wildly inconsistent, all over the place. Not a good team right now. I think they're about 5 games below 500, but that's a very, very strong jump from last year, where they were literally the worst team anyone had ever seen. So yeah, this team has a sewer back, man. He's back. That means steals, blocks, and he can score a little bit. He had a 19-point game somewhere in one of those games. He's getting in shape. I'm pretty sure he'll be in the mix tonight. Him and Ron Holland, those are explosive athletes, you guys. Explosive. And neither one of those names are Ivy and Cunningham, so that means we're going to have our hands full tonight. Not to mention Tobias Harris, if he happens to have a big game. I don't like the matchup. Jalen Duran, big body dudes pushing people around, rebounding force of nature, young player. This is just not a great matchup. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. But the Detroit Pistons are the Detroit Pistons. They find ways of losing. That's one thing I know about the Detroit Pistons. And given the fact they're coming off this Phoenix win, I just can't see them continuing on a West Coast road trip getting too many victories. That's just not who they are. So we need to just take advantage of what we see there. They might make some mistakes. They might have a cold shooting night here or there. Beasley may end up overshooting, trying to make up for the Laker stuff. And hopefully he's cold tonight. But one thing I know for sure, Cade Cunningham, you can count on him for about 33 points. And Jaden Ivey, as well as he played against the Lakers in the last one, I'm pretty sure his confidence is sky high against us this season. So it's going to be a monster of a game. And believe me, if the Lakers think they're playing the old Pistons, they're going to get beaten bad. This is not the game to overlook. I understand we got Christmas Day, Golden State soon. We've been in Sacramento, beating up on the Kings. They also lost a big game, if I'm not mistaken, last night. They got blown out badly by somebody. I don't know who it was. So, as I told people, I don't think the Kings are that great of a team. And given the fact that we're giving ourselves a pat on the back for beating good teams, I think we need to reel that back in and just say, you know what, the Kings aren't that much better than the Detroit Pistons. In fact, they might not be better than them at all. I'm just being honest. They may not be. So that means we got to take Detroit very seriously. If we want to call the Kings a good team, call Detroit a good team. And so that's what I'm here to tell people. I think Detroit is more than capable of beating us tonight if we don't show up. It's very simple. Just like we did in their house. Not showing up got us beat. Tonight is not the night to take a night off. Anthony Davis had a 10-point game in the last one. It's not going to cut it. Some of those poor shots down the stretch of the basketball game against the Sacramento Kings in the last one, not going to cut it. We almost blew a 10-point lead in a matter of 2 minutes in the fourth quarter of that last game. Not going to cut it. I'm just being honest. I just think Detroit provides themselves a little too much athleticism. Their shooters are real confident right now, and they got a closer who's just as good as De'Aaron Fox. You know what I mean? And Cade Cunningham. And Ivy, another guy who's going to be speeding all over the place. So, Sabonis, that's your Duran. Even though Sabonis is obviously more capable than Duran, you see the simulation of how some of those teams are. DeMar DeRozan, you got your Ron Holland. Like this and Stuart Thompson and those guys, it's just not much of a difference there to me. I think Sacramento and Detroit are similarly put together. Maybe not the same talent level, but the same body types in a lot of situations. You got your Malik Monk, you got your, Malik Beasley. It's like they're kind of. It's almost like they been put together by the same person. That's what it seems like to me. So I think that may help us in some ways in terms of some of the stuff that we did against Sac may work against Detroit. But one thing we need to understand about Detroit, they really do have capable defenders. Holland, Thompson, those guys are very capable defenders. So that's why I want people to just take this team very seriously. Tobias Harris out there scoring. This is a game to not overlook. And so that's my point of view. I have no idea what the Lakers are wearing tonight, although I'd imagine since it's Sunday, we can see the white jerseys for sure being what they wear. So rather, I'm not really sure what Detroit's wearing, but I definitely know what the Lakers are wearing. We're wearing white unless they decide to go with the alternate floor, which given the fact that this is a Sunday, I give like a 1% chance. We're wearing white. And, so that's really what it is. The injury report for this game is not quite out yet, although I know Beef Stew is expected to miss it. As far as we're concerned, I don't know. But I would caution Bron and AD if they want to take this game off to not. Just simply don't. Because you're not going to... I don't see us having the horses to beat this team if LeBron isn't just as aggressive drawing fouls and getting in the paint as he did in the last one against Sacramento. We're going to need all of our horses tonight. Austin Reeves is going to be a big deal tonight. D'Angelo Russell continue playing well, big deal. But understand the defenders that are going to be guarding them are going to be capable. Masur is guarding somebody, and whoever that person is, it's a good chance they have an off night tonight, man. I'm just being honest. So, Anthony Davis, if you give us 10 points, we're going to probably not win. We really need to be aggressive tonight. We got to stay on our toes. Hopefully the final 2 minutes of that last game got our guys on our toes, because if you would have won that game running out the door, maybe you overlook this one. Maybe you think yourself a little better than you are, and that's a dangerous precedent to set against a team that has advantages in this regard. So that's really what it comes down to, man. I wanted to give people some acknowledgement that there's a game tonight at 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern against the Detroit Pistons. That's Crypto.com Arena, and I'll do my best to make sure I'm there to see it. The way the day is structured tomorrow, I think I'll be able to see the game, but I'm not in control of that. Unfortunately, I'm going to be kind of on other people's watch as it pertains to the way the day goes. So, given the fact that it's a late game and I have an early morning the next day, at the very least, I'm pretty sure I'll have an after game video. But as far as how much I'll see in the first half, I don't know. But yeah, that's really where we're at, man. I definitely just wanted to give y'all an update on this game and stay consistent in what it is that I do. BDF44, I thank you all for watching. I'm out.